Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We'll start with verses 1 through 7 of Surah Baqarah and do a little bit of the Tafsir and a little introduction of Surah Baqarah, inshallah. So as we start, the first thing that we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with this dua, which is Allahumma arinal haqqa haqqan warzuqna ittiba'a wa arinal batila batilan warzuqna ijtinaba. Oh Allah, show us the truth as truth and give us the ability to follow it. You know, many people today, they know the truth, but they are not able to follow it. They know it in their heart what is right, but they are not able to do anything about it. And similarly, we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He shows us the falsehood as falsehood and allows us the ability to avoid it. Again, many people know what is false, but they are not able to stand up for it. And we need to be able to have the ability to stand up for the right and to stand up for the wrong also. Okay? So some of the virtues of Surah Baqarah, there is a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam which says, La taj'alu buyutikum maqabir, which means do not turn your houses into graveyards. Inna shaytana yanfura min al-bayt allazi taqra fihi Surah al-Baqarah. Satan runs away from the house in which Surah Baqarah is recited. So this is one of the virtues of Surah Baqarah, is to cause shaitan to run away from your house. Again, one more thing, another hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a virtue of Surah Baqarah is فَإِنَّ الْبَيْتَ الَّذِي تَقْرَأَ فِيهِ سُورَةُ الْبَقَرَةِ لَا يَدْخُلُهُ الشَّيْطَانِ, which means that shaitan does not even enter the house where Surah Baqarah is recited. So again, we want to be the ones that do not allow our own houses to turn into graveyards. Because as you can see from the hadith, where the Surah Baqarah is not recited, those houses become graveyards. So a quick introduction about Surah Baqarah, inshallah, is it has 286 verses. It is the second and the longest chapter in the Quran. Surah Baqarah itself means the cow. Who knew that from before? It means the cow. Now, the purpose of Surah Baqarah is for all of us because the Quran is for each one of us. Every verse of the Quran is for each one of us. And the purpose of understanding the meaning of Surah Baqarah is to be able to know what is each one of our own cows. There is a story in Surah Baqarah that talks about slaughtering of a cow, which is where the name came from. But again, we need to know what is our cow. Each of us has a cow that we need to slaughter. And then we will find out as we go through some of these verses who that cow is for each one of us, inshallah. So this surah was revealed in Medina after the Hijrah, and it has about 6,200 words and about 25,500 letters in it also. The very special thing about this surah is, who knows Ayatul Kursi? Who recites Ayatul Kursi on a daily basis? Who recites Ayatul Kursi after each salah? There is a lot of virtue of being able to recite Ayatul Kursi after when you finish your fard salah. Okay? And Ayatul Kursi is part of Surah Baqarah. Think about this. Baqarah means the cow. There is another verse in the Quran, in Surah number 16, which basically says, and verily in the cattle there is a lesson for you. Think about the milk. Who had breakfast this morning before coming here? Who had cereal or milk in the morning? Okay, some of you did, right? Think about it. You took the milk out of the refrigerator effortlessly, put it in a bowl, and just drank it or ate it with your cereal, right? But think about it, where the milk comes from. It comes from the cow. And also think about this whole cycle. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the cow as an animal which keeps the secretion separate from the milk that you get. The milk that you're getting, it is coming from the food that the cow is eating from the ground, where all the dirt is going in, and the rain that's falling from the sky is causing the trees and the plants to grow that the cow eats to give you the milk. So think about this process, is that what the cow eats is a simple thing. What it produces for you is extremely beneficial for you, right? So Why do Hindus worship the cow? Look it up online. They don't worship the cow because it's a god for them. They believe it as a source of benefit, right? But look it up. There are people. The purpose of this slide is to show you that there are people in the world who actually worship the cow as very, very sacred. They will do anything for animals like these. And again, the purpose of all of this is to show what is the meaning and what is the relationship of the surah that we are going to be studying, inshallah. So the surah starts with the words Alif Lam Mim. Now, Alif Lam Mim are called huruf muqattat, which means that those are just alphabets that we don't know the meaning of. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give us the meaning for that, right? And we should not even think what the meaning could be because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give it to us. Now, the important thing is that back then, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was an ummi, which means he was an uneducated person. An uneducated person would not pronounce, when you look at this word, he would not pronounce these words as separate alphabets, right? He would pronounce this word as alam, maybe, as a word, if he was educated. But the purpose of this was to bring attention from the people of Quraysh at that time, that where did these words come from? Do these words, they should bring the humility in us that we studied Surah Fatiha that came before it. We, understand maybe the meaning of Surah Fatiha, but we don't know the meaning of these words, right? And this is to humble us, is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us to get the attention of people. Now, this is a book in which there is no doubt. Zalikal kitaba la rayba fi. There is no doubt in this book. Now, what I want you to write down in your copies is that this book gives you information about your past, it will give you information about your present, and it will give you information about your future. So it will give you all three things, as long as we are willing to get the guidance from the book. That is the only time when we get the guidance. This is Allah's final message that has been given for the entire world, from people from all races and backgrounds, okay? So there is two types of people that are mentioned in the first 7 verses of Surah Baqarah, and we will study who those are. The first kind of people are the muttaqeens. Who are the muttaqeens? The muttaqeens are the people who fear Allah much, but who also love Allah much. The question that we need to be asking of ourselves is, do we fear Allah much? Which many of us may do, because sometimes all we hear about is you will go to Jahannam, you will go to Jahannam, you will go to Jahannam. But then, do we also love Allah much? Do we love Allah more than anything else in this world? Do we? That's a question that each one of us needs to ask and answer for our own self. Are we willing to obey what Allah is going to command us or has commanded for us without a question, without a doubt? Right? So verse number 3 of Surah Baqarah is الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. So bil-ghayb, what is ghayb? Ghayb means something that we cannot see, something that we can't see. What are some of the examples of things that you cannot see? Angels. Oxygen. Well, oxygen, you can still prove that there is oxygen, right? Scientifically. Somehow you can prove that. What is it that you can't prove? You can't see Allah. We know about Allah. We don't see Allah. What else? Jinn. They may sometimes even appear, but yes, jinn is one of them. Absolutely. We don't see them. Good deeds and bad deeds, right? Hellfire. Paradise, we've not seen any of that, but we believe in it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about it. Now, the question is, bil ghaib is everything that is hidden from human sight and senses. You don't see any of that, you don't feel any of that, but it is there. The pillars of Iman. Who knows about the pillars of Iman? Okay, you may have studied those before. Now, the thing is that these are the pillars that are the roots of our iman. If we don't believe in any of these things, our roots are not even strong to build the bridge of iman, or the building of iman on top of it. We need to believe in the oneness of Allah, the prophets, the angels, the books, the life after death, and belief in taqdeer. Now, the fourth verse of Surah Baqarah talks about وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. Now, again, this is a continuation of the definition of muttaqeen. These are the people who believe in all the books, who believe what was revealed through all the prophets. Now, the belief in books, the holy book of the Muslims is obviously the Quran. We also believe in all the other books that were revealed to the other prophets as well. And we do believe that the books that came before the Quran are the books that have been changed. Quran is the only one that is still in its original form. Other books are not in their true original form that were revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is why Allah gave Quran as the final message to the humanity. Verse number 5 talks about أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَىٰ هُدًى مِّن رَبِّهِمْ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. This is the third verse that's talking about the muttaqeen, and it is talking about that these are the people, the muttaqeen are the people who are the rightly guided by their Lord and who are eventually going to be successful. Right? Again, what was the second verse of Surah Baqarah? ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابَ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. There is no doubt in it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us who is going to be successful at the end. It's going to be the one who are going to be the muttaqeen. Now, muttaqeens are like the roots of this tree. If you take a look at this, the roots are what the pillars of iman are. If your pillar of iman is not there, if the iman is not there, the trunk is like the pillars of Islam. Who knows what the pillars of Islam are? There are how many pillars of Islam? 5, right? The trunk is like the pillars of Islam, and then the tree grows, then the tree blossoms. So if we don't have the iman and Islam, the tree is not going to blossom. Verse number 6. Now this is where we start talking about the second kind of people. So what was the first kind that we talked about? Muttaqeen. The second kind that we are going to talk about are the kafirin, the disbelievers. Now, one thing to think about is this verse number 6, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. This verse, what this means is, this does not mean that we should not give dawah to people, because this verse is saying that for those who disbelieve, it is all the same. It doesn't mean that. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Surah Baqarah was revealed to him in Medina. He preached for 13 years in Makkah before he went to Medina. Right? So he was telling those people again and again, calling them to Islam, calling them to believe in the oneness of Allah, calling them to believing in life after death. But people were not paying any heed to it. So these verses were revealed after 13 years of preaching on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The people who disbelieve, they are not going to believe. So you can forget, you don't have to worry about them. But again, what we need to make sure is that we are giving guidance and we are giving dawah to people around us. How do you give the most effective dawah to people around you? How do you do that? Your actions, exactly. How you behave outside in front of your Muslim and in front of your non-Muslim neighbor. How you communicate to them. How you talk to people that you don't know. How do you treat the people around you is how you communicate your manners and how you communicate who the Muslims are. So, verse number 7, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is basically talking about that Allah has set a seal upon those people. Khatam Allahu here means Allah has put the seal on the hearts of the disbelievers, which means that they are not going to be believing. And again, this is for the people to whom you are calling again and again and again and again. At the end, it is up to Allah to give guidance to anybody. He can give guidance to anybody that He wants, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says the people who are disbelievers, their hearts have been sealed. They are not going to change, right? And what we need to know is guidance delayed is guidance denied, which means, mashallah, tabarakallah to all of you who actually came for this class. There were other people who were thinking about being part of this class, but for them, things probably got delayed. Now, Allah can always decide to give guidance to anybody, whenever He wants. But if you get guidance, grab it. Because if you will push guidance away from you, guidance is going to be denied, right? And we don't want to be one of those. So, as a summary, what I want you to write down is what are the qualities of being successful and what are the qualities of the people who fail. So the quality for success is having taqwa, believe in the unseen, and I want you to write this down in your copies. So the qualities for success are having taqwa, believe in the unseen, establish prayer, spend for Allah in the way of Allah, believe in the books by Allah, and believe in the day of judgment. What are the qualities of the people who do not benefit from the Quran? They're the people who refuse to believe in the truth, and the people who refuse to be part of success. Okay. So as a checklist, let's go over to the next page, and this is the checklist that I want you to note down on page number 11 of your books. So I want you to write these questions down in the checklist for yourself. And again, we will have the recording up there as well. You can also catch up with this later if you need to, but I want you to write this down now, the questions in the table that you have over there. Do I feel humbled with the words Alif Lam Mim? Do I have doubts in Quran as the book of guidance? And you need to answer the questions for your own self. Whether it's yes, whether it's no, whether it's maybe. Do I think I can be a muttaqi by loving Allah and fearing Allah much? Do I believe in the unseen and know angels around me all the time? Do I establish prayer 5 times a day? This is a checklist that we need to have for each one of us, inshallah. Okay. Now, a quick check is, and again, this is for next week. This is for next week again. I will be uploading the recording also, so if you were not able to keep up with it, please watch the recording and you can go back to those questions. But the checklist for next week is going to be that you have written down the word meaning of the verses 1 through 7 of Surah Baqarah, and then you have written down some additional lessons. And then under the gems, which is the last part of it, I will give you 30 seconds now for this last portion of it. Favorite gem for the day, alhamdulillah. So any verse of the 7 verses that we looked at, what was your favorite verse? That you think is your favorite verse that gives you something for today. 30 seconds for you to write it down. 30 seconds for you to write down of the 7 verses that we studied in Surah Baqarah. The first 7 verses. The first 7 verses. What was your favorite verse? What was your favorite verse that you could relate to? Or something that gives you some lesson? And then I will be asking you next time to call out what that verse was. Okay? So please write it down. What was the favorite verse that you got the lesson from? Okay.